Okay, let's read story. Are you ready?
It's cute, baby. This is baby.
Okay, let's read about the Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, in a village in the middle of the forest, there lived a little country girl. She was the prettiest child you have ever seen. Her mother loved her very much, and her grandmother loved her even more. Her grandmother made her a red riding hood. The little girl liked this very much. She wore it every time she went out. That is why everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day her mother made some cakes. When they were done, she called to Little Red Riding Hood. She said, "I have heard that your grandmother is ill. My dear, go and see how she is. Take her some of these nice cakes and a little pot of butter." The good little girl ran to get her basket. She put the cakes and the pot of butter in it. Then she put on her red riding hood and went to see her grandmother. Her grandmother lived in another village in the forest. On her way through the forest, Little Red Riding Hood met a wolf. He was hungry and wanted to eat her up, but there were some woodcutters at work there, and so he was afraid to do anything. If the woodcutters saw him eating a little girl, they would kill him. The wolf asked Little Red Riding Hood where she was going. The poor child had never seen a wolf before. She did not know it was dangerous to talk to one. She said, "I am going to see my grandmother. She is ill, and I am taking her some cakes and a little pot of butter." "Does she live very far from here?" asked the wolf. "Oh yes," answered Little Red Riding Hood. "It is past the church you see on the hill over there." The wolf looked to where the Little Red Riding Hood was pointing. He saw a hill with a church on top of it. Around the church there were some small houses. "Which house does grandmother live in?" asked the wolf. "Grandmother's house is the first house in the village," Little Red Riding Hood answered. "And what will you do when you get there, my dear?" asked the wolf. "I will knock at the door, tap, tap, tap," replied little girl. "And what will grandmother do?" "She will say, 'Who's there?' And I must say, 'It is your granddaughter, Little Red Riding Hood. Mother heard you were not feeling well. She has sent you some cakes and a little pot of butter." Look at the picture. And then grandmother will say, "Pull the string on the door and the latch will go up." And I will do what she says and go in. "I see," said the wolf. And then he smiled. "Well," he said, "I think I'll go and see grandmother too. Let's have a race. I'll go this way and you go that way. We shall see who will get there first." The wolf began to run as fast as he could. He knew the forest well. It was easy for him to find the shortest way to grandmother's house. The little girl went by the longest way. She wasted time. She ran after pretty butterflies. She stopped to pick sweet smelling flowers for her grandmother. The wolf soon reached the old woman's house. He knocked at the door. Tap, tap, tap. "Who's there?" The wolf tried to make his voice sound like the voice of a little girl. "Your granddaughter," he replied. Little Red Riding Hood. Mother heard you were not feeling well. She has sent you some cakes and a little pot of butter. The grandmother, who was in bed, called out, "Pull the string on the door and the latch will go up." The wolf pulled the string, the latch went up, the door opened. The wolf walked into the house. He jumped on poor old grandmother and began to eat her. The wolf ate grandmother. Oh no! Grandmother was small and thin. The wolf had not eaten anything for more than 3 days. It did not take him long to finish. Then he shut the door. He put on grandmother's nightclothes. He got into grandmother's bed and waited for Little Red Riding Hood. Soon Little Red Riding Hood came. She knocked at the door. Tap, tap, tap. "Who's there?" Little Red Riding Hood heard the wolf's voice. At first she was rather afraid, but then she thought, "My grandmother is ill. Perhaps that is why her voice sounds so loud and rough." So she answered, "It is your granddaughter, Little Red Riding Hood. Mother heard you were ill. I have brought you some cakes and a little pot of butter." The wolf tried to make his voice sound soft and weak. He called out, "Pull the string and the latch will go up." Little Red Riding Hood pulled the string. The latch went up and the door opened. When the wolf saw Little Red Riding Hood, he hid himself under the bedclothes. He said, "Put the cakes and the little pot of butter on that stool. Then come and sit on the bed beside me." Little Red Riding Hood took the cakes and butter out of the basket. She put them on the stool. She took off her Red Riding Hood. Then she went to sit on her grandmother's bed. She was very surprised to see how much her grandmother had changed. "Grandmother, what great ears you have," she said. "All the better to hear you with, my dear," replied the wolf. "Grandmother, what great eyes you have." "All the better to see you with, my dear." "Grandmother, what great arms you have." "All the better to hold you with, my dear." "Grandmother, what great legs you have." "All the better to jump out of bed with, my dear." "And grandmother, what great teeth you have." "All the better to eat you with, my dear." And when he had said those words, the wicked wolf jumped out of bed. He caught Little Red Riding Hood in his big strong arms and he ate her all up. Oh no! The wolf ate Little Red Riding Hood? I thought that she ran away and the woodcutters saved her. And I thought that grandmother didn't die. I thought grandmother hid in the closet. What kind of book is this that we are reading? Oh no. Well, that is a sad story. That's why you should not talk to strangers. If you don't know someone, don't talk to them. You understand? Okay? Say, "Okay, mommy."
Okay, mommy.
Don't talk to someone that you don't know, okay? If you think that mommy don't know that person, don't talk to them. Alright? Okay. Say, "I will not talk to you." Say it. "I will not. I will not
Not
talk
talk
to you.
to you.
I don't know you.
I
I don't know
don't know
you."
you.
Okay. If you don't know someone, don't talk to that someone, okay? Don't talk to strangers. Do you understand? Okay, so good night, everyone. Good night. Kiss mommy.